Hey, Fred.
Jack, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good.
Okay, we're on.
So we have everyone, but who else is there?
It's just Jack and I
Oh, okay.
for now. Yeah. I did get a text from Ed, and Ed said he'll be late. He was just leaving work. Okay.
Okay, so the first item we have is our tax collector's report for the month. And we started out in the month of April with a balance of $220,593. And during the past month, collected $164,804.99, leaving a balance of taxes to be collected in the amount of $55,788. Street lighting, fire tax, those amounts outstanding total $6,285.13. And that brings our total real estate taxes uncollected at a total of approximately $62,000. The occupational assessment tax, our total tax levy for the year is $9,785. 2,295 was collected to date, leaving a balance of 7,490 to be collected. The tax collector is going to be off. She's leaving for vacation today and will not be back for a week. So there will be no payovers until the following week when she returns. And then she will pay us whatever has been collected. So one thing I would like to point out is during the month of March and April, the tax collector is obligated to pay us every week. In the months of May and June, she is obligated to pay us every other week. Beginning in July through December, she can pay us as she has amounts collected, but in most instances in July and December, she makes only one payment a month to the borough. So those are the balances. Any questions on the tax collector's report?
No.
Not for me.
Is there anywhere on there that shows what's outstanding from last year yet?
No, this covers only this year's levies. So the outstanding taxes have gone to the Tax Claim Bureau. We could request a report from them of what they have to be collected from Newville Borough, and I'm sure they have that on their computer and generate it for us. The amounts that are collected by the county Tax Claim Bureau are paid over to us on a quarterly basis. So we've received only one payment for them.
So at the end of June, we should get another.
We'll get another payment. We have a report from the Cumberland County Tax Bureau of earned income tax and local services tax. And for the month of April this year, we took in $9,771 on the earned income tax in the month of April and $580 on the local services tax, which comparison to last year, actually last year it was a little bit higher. It was $11,049 for the earned income tax and $649 for the occupational tax, the local services tax. However, when you look at the year-to-date totals, at the same time last year, the borough had collected $44,764 in earned income tax, whereas this year we've collected $45,302. So we're up a little bit on the earned income tax collection. Local services tax last year was $3,669 at this time, and local services tax right now is $2,510. Now, the one thing I should point out, both of these amounts, the earned income and the local services tax, may be down because of the fact that the tax deadline for filing was it was expanded this year to May 17th from the traditional April 15th filing deadline. So we might be seeing, a little lag in revenues due to the fact that the filing date was extended to May 17th. But overall, there's no cause for alarm. Revenues, earned income tax, and the local services tax revenues are on track. Now, our June payment is always our largest payment of the year. So we will be interested to see what that payment is, and that will be coming out to us on June the 3rd. Also on the subject of reports, we did have a very good report last month, the month of April, and that report came from the County Recorder of Deeds, which is the realty transfer tax. And the total amount of the check was $7,731.71, which surpasses our check last year in August when we received about $4,900. So just going over the report, we had a property on East Main Street at 30 East Main Street, which was a rental property. It has now sold and is going to be a private home. That property sold for $169,900. A very small house down here on West Main Street sold for $103,000. It was only a 2-bedroom home. It had been an apartment, and it now has been sold to a first-time home buyer. The apartments here on Glebe Avenue were sold for a total of $730,000 to a company from Virginia. In the South Ward, a property at 12 Chestnut Street was sold for $190,000. And another property on Chestnut Street, about 6 doors away, sold for $240,000. So property values are going up. Sales from real estate in the borough are up. And right now, based upon this report, this check alone counted for 1/2 of our realty transfer tax revenues for the entire year. So we continue to see closings. You don't see many signs out. And I'm sure if Ed was here, he would tell you that most homes now are sold to people for cash. Many result in bid wars. One here on Chestnut Street went into a bidding war, and the owners got a very nice amount of cash in excess of what they were asking for. So we have new families moving into Newville. The new families that move in, obviously you have a husband and wife, 2 wage earners, so that affects our earned income tax. Every time a property goes through a transfer, it goes to the realty transfer office and the recorder of deeds, the sale price reflects in the assessed valuation of that property. So the assessed valuation becomes your assessment, so to speak. Well, that helps us in terms of our real estate taxes. So the fact that real estate is doing good in Newville, the fact that we're seeing reports like this, will continue to pay dividends to us on real estate taxes and earned income tax.
That's great.
The American Recovery Act funds, what I can tell you about this is what started out and what was billed as a pretty much no strings attached program is now 13 pages of strings attached to it. But in general, the funding appears to still be in some categories that we can make use of. For example, you could use funding to pay for water and sewer projects, broadband infrastructure. We can pay for economic development projects. And we can also use the money to supplement lost revenue. Money can also be used to give premium pay to employees who worked during the pandemic. I think the areas that we need to look at as a borough would be to help ourselves recover lost revenues from last year, economic development, and if we could do any infrastructure projects, I think those would be the three areas that we should look at. The water and sewer side of things, the authority will be able to apply for funds through Cumberland County. And Cumberland County is slated to receive somewhere around $10 million in funding. And there are only a few municipal water and sewer authorities in the county. So even if it's done on a competitive basis, the chances are good for each of those authorities to receive a grant of somewhere around $500,000. And so, I would tell you as a council to, focus on the agenda that you're tasked with, which is health, safety, and welfare. The Water and Sewer Authority can certainly file for applications for grant funds on their own and not, affect the borough's funding. We will receive $133,000 total, but it will be received in 2 installments, one coming in June, and the other one will be approximately 12 months after the initial grant. We must keep records of how the funds are spent, and if we're going to do the supplementing of our revenue loss, there is a formula that they ask us to use to determine the amount of money that we are going to supplement with. So we have been following the act. We've been keeping records of all the guidelines and are in pretty good shape. Also, Zachary Bryce from Salzman Hughes is very much up on the act, and he gives, we're fortunate to receive from him regular updates from the U.S. Treasury about how the funds can be spent.
Do you know about what our revenue loss was last year?
Well, we know we were down at least $26,000 in real estate taxes that we turned over at the end of the year. We know we turned over approximately $5,000 in occupational assessment taxes. I think overall for the year, we might have been down maybe $5,000 or $6,000 in earned income tax. But then you can also look at police fines. You can look at things like your cable TV franchise fees. You can look at real estate transfer, although I think last year we probably did better than any year previously. So we can look at all those factors across the board. Even things like building permits, zoning permits. All those are revenues of the borough. And there's a formula that we can use to determine, but I would like to see us, try to capture about $60,000, $50,000 to $60,000 of the grant and use it to supplement our income from last year. Because, really we carried over bills from last year that we couldn't pay and we are paying this year. So unless we stop that, it's going to keep going on. So if we can supplement some of these grant funds this year, that'll stop that and it'll bring our budget back in check. While we're on that subject, one of the things that the controller and I have been talking about is, we are instituting a new QuickBooks accounting program. Both the treasurer and the controller have been putting a lot of time into that. But what we did in April, I don't know if you saw this in the process, but in April, we made a number of purchases and approved a number of improvements that were related to the Public Works Department. And the Public Works Superintendent was told, this is it. Do you need anything else? No, I'm good now for the year. So you're done. Then in May, we sat down with the chief of police and we said, what do you need? And he told us, and we gave him his budget allocation, and now he's done. So between now and the end of the year, we shouldn't be coming to council with requests for purchases other than essential items. If a car breaks or something like that, we have a storm we have to clean up or we had some damage. We should be pretty well through our general funds, other than for payroll, insurances, utilities, things like that. So we're hoping to, be able to continue out through the year by holding down our spending. And along those lines, we have received, last week, we received from the state our motor fuels allocation from May 17th, 2021. We received a check in the amount of $34,281.28, which with our funds on hand brings our balance in our liquid fuels account to about $41,000. If you recall, you all received a letter from the Department of Transportation reminding that the borough had some forms to complete. And we went back and we completed those forms and we filed our Act 385 report. And so as a result of that, last Thursday, we received notice that we will be receiving an additional $70,000 in state highway aid fund. So our highway aid account is going to look very good. We're going to have an excess of probably around $117,000 in the fund. So what we can do is many of the items that we were spending out of our general fund for signs and so forth, public works supplies, we can pay those bills from our highway aid account, and it'll relieve the pressure on our general fund account. Hi, Joey.
Sorry, I'm late.
Tonight, I would like to discuss from Curb Tech. When we had Curb Tech in to do the work here on the smart TV, I discussed with them our IT services agreement, which for many years had been with a company known as Moorfield Communications. And we were paying Moorfield $369 a month to cover IT service work for the borough and the police department. But when we took a bid for the computer work that was related to the new municipal building, there was a proposal in there from Curb Tech to do IT support services for the borough at a cost of $924 a year. So I went back and I talked to the owner, Troy Whitmer, and I asked him what that would include, and it's basically the same services that are offered right now by Moorfield. And so the cost to the borough would be $77 a month. So I recommend that we not renew our agreement with Moorfield and that we go with Curb Tech, which is a significant saving, $924 a month, a year, versus $369 a month. Now, one of the things that Curb Tech did look at, you all heard about the story about the pipeline and the hacking of the computers. Because our borough maintains the Water and Sewer Authority, we are closely monitored and in touch with the FBI and Homeland Security. So immediately we received reports from the FBI and Homeland Security of measures that we should take, firewalls and so forth, so that our email systems and our water and sewer plants could not be hacked into. Now, Newville Water and Sewer Authority, our water and sewer plants are not online. They are not connected to the internet. They're not even connected to the telephone system. We have standalone computer systems that operate those plants. And there's no way that you could hack into our operations because they're not out on the grid, so to speak. But what we Where we are vulnerable is here at the borough office, and that our computers do not have a router, we do not have a firewall. We don't have that level of protection. So CurbTech reviewed the proposal from Homeland Security, and they came up with a plan to provide firewall services through a company called Barracuda Router, which is a 3-year subscription at $847, and then the hardware and so forth. The installation all totals $3,790.09. So I talked with the Water and Sewer Authority, and they said since the borough office computers are shared, they would pay 1/2 the cost if the borough is in agreement to pay the other half. I talked to Scott about this and highly recommend that we do something here to have this level of protection, basically to protect our accounting systems and our utility billing systems here at the borough office. So this is something I think I would like to have council discuss tonight and vote on, and get it installed. Possibly they could do this at the same time that they come back to work on the smart TV. Are there any questions?
So it's half of the 3790.
Yes. Those are all of the action items that I had on the agenda. Is there any question or anything you'd like me to go back and review before we move on to the balances and the list of bills?
No.
Okay. Everyone okay?
Yeah.
On the list of bills, the first bill is A.B. Martin Roofing Supply. We purchased conduit outlets and wiring to install a new electrical circuit at the concession stand at the park. The bill was $68.62. L&N Automotive tuned up and mounted 2 tires on our patrol car. I asked the chief if we shouldn't have 4 tires put on because our cars are all-wheel drive. And he did just get 2 tires. So I don't know if we want to talk a little bit tonight about maybe having 2 other tires put on, but we had a problem once before where we bought used tires from Hippen Steels, and we thought we were saving money, and shortly thereafter ended up changing the power converter on the car. It cost $2,200. So when you have all-wheel drive, you've got to change your tires all at the same time, and it's important that they all have the same.
I thought we approved 4.
We approved 4 for each car, and then the chief said, well, I only need 2. So he bought 2. But. And Daco Uniform Rentals for DPW, $246.80. Irwin and McKnight PC Legal Services for April. I want to go back to Endaco. The guys have told me that they're very happy getting a clothing allowance again, rather than paying the bills monthly as we have been for uniform rental and cleaning. They have offered, you know, if we just gave them a clothing allowance of $200 or $300 for the full-timers and maybe $150 for the part-timers, they would be happy with that, and discontinue the uniform rental, which, you know, is every month at $250. So there would be a substantial savings to the borough, and the employees, public works employees offered it to us. So I think we should, in August, their contract for uniform rental is up, and I think that would be the time to discontinue.
Is that both water and sewer?
No, we
This
just
is just us.
DPW, the 4 men in DPW.
Are they gonna have to be required to wear a certain outfit? You know what I mean?
Well, they have to be ANSI all.
Okay,
If they have jackets, they gotta have the reflective striping.
okay,
They must have their name,
okay,
and there's a company in Carlisle, Personalities,
okay.
across from the,
Personalities.
yeah, across from the Wise Market. And he has done shirts and things like that.
So they'll continue to all wear the same.
Everything will be the same.
Right.
You know, wear a t-shirt in the summer, a sweatshirt in winter, or a hood, and they'll be identifiable. They'll have a borough seal and everything.
Okay, thanks.
Sailor's Market cleaning supplies for the borough office, $8.09. Brown and Brown of the Lehigh Valley is a renewal of the cyber insurance coverage, which is $2,188. Crime Watch Alarm Systems was a repair call, $35. Edmill Fuels, DPW fuel purchased in April, $459.90. News Chronicle legal ads for North Corporation Street, CDBG, $183.50. Boston Mutual is our group insurance and disability coverage, which now is only limited to disability, $413.61. Martin and Martin Engineering was engineering services related to North Corporation Street, $55. PSATs is the annual subscription to their township news magazine, $40. Advanced septic services with a park restroom rental, $143. PA Municipal Code Alliance zoning officer services, $735.75. L&N Automotive, this is to put 4 tires on the other patrol car, $72. Raybold Services, calibrate speed timing devices for the police, $60. Sailor's Market, water and Gatorade for vending machines, $38.55. Co's Oil Service, fuel oil delivered to the police station, $226.32. PD Evidence LLC, which is the annual subscription for the management of the evidence at the police station, $1,499, bringing the total general fund bills for the month, $8,956.36. There are no highway aid bills.
Along the lines of water and Gatorade, there was something on, it was
Yeah,
about, first of all, I think they thought it was expired because the date was November 2020. That's a sell-by date, and soda's good for 9 months after that, but it was flat. So
I think Jody said something today about that.
all right, so just as long as somebody.
Was this on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
As long as somebody.
somebody tried to email her on Facebook or something. And so they were going to look and see. Dave thinks it might have been soda that was left and crows and thawed.
yeah,
crows.
and that will go flat,
Yeah,
yeah.
So, but he was gonna go down and change it all out. The balances for the month of April. General fund checking, $65,862.36. Rental fund, $1,372.94. Also, Mike met with me last night, and Alexis had sent an email and asked if we could consider restarting rental inspections. And my recommendation to Mike was that we do it starting July 1st. And maybe do, 2 or 3, 4 inspections a month until we get up to speed. Street lighting account has $4,644.37. Fire tax account at Mid-Penn Bank, I'm sorry. There's a mistake here. 57 would be around 62,500.
which one's that?
Fire tax. It starts out with 57.
Oh, yeah,
Then we put 5, but
I'll add it up.
we got a mistake here in the numbers. General fund expense account, the debit card, 706.57. Newville area events, 5,235.11. Highway aid fund has 6,921.47. Payroll checking has 11,918.88. The police department checking accounts are at Belco, the checking, 12,475.71. Canine fund at Belco, 3,446.20. The auxiliary police account, 151, and the police department debit card has $3,002.61 on it.
What did you say the police department's checking was?
$12,475.
Because what I have is 11,000.
Well, these were new numbers.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. That's fine.
Alexis gave us the police department checking account and the K-9 account were given out after the report was done.
Thanks.
What was that number again?
So the K-9 account has 3,446.20,
Mhm.
and the police department checking has 12,475.71. Now, the pension account statements also changed. They came in late. So the police pension plan has 373,813.28, 373,813.28. And the non-uniform pension plan is doing very well. It's up over $500,000. Non-uniform plan is at 516,441.46. And both plans have made gains over the last 3 months. The other borough accounts, which there were no changes to, include the veterans account for the banners, 946.63, capital improvement fund, 1,467.61, and the tax anticipation loan fund has 990.12. Any questions on the balances, or do you want anything read back?
So fire tax, I have a total of 62,606.63. Police department checking 12,475.71.
Correct.
Police pension 373,813.28.
Correct.
And then non-uniform pension 516,441.46.
Fred, how often do we do rental inspections? Is it every 3 years?
We do them every year.
Every
We
year?
do
Oh, okay.
about, we've been trying to do 50 inspections.
Oh, okay. Okay,
But they're on a rotation,
Yeah.
right?
right.
We have 300 rental units, which I think it might be a little bit less now. It might be down around.
So it's basically like once every 3 years is what they're getting inspected then?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what, yeah.
I think didn't that
We
change?
changed that.
One
with
to every
the-
5? Or?
We used to do it on a 5. and
I think
now-
we upped
No,
it to
that's
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but I just wasn't sure.
And we did agree, that Commonwealth Code will continue to do those inspections in addition to zoning. That's all that I have on, unless anyone has any questions about anything else. We have plenty of time.
Any questions, Jack?
No, not for 9, no.
All right. Well, we'll close this meeting out and then go into the other one.
Okay.
All right.
At 7, right?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good.